I'm just curious, by show of hands, this is my third time being here, and I appreciate y'all having me back. I either did something right, or it's just one of those weeks where you can't get anybody good. I don't know which. How many guys were here last year when I spoke? Show of hands. A little bit of a problem. All right, I realized on the way down here that I brought the notes from last year's speech. So this year's speech, and so if there's any part of it you forget, or I know you're going to get picked up on. So no, it's good to be back. Good to be back at Arkansas State for the third year. Good to be back here for the third year as well. I grew up knowing that there's some great people. I know Coach Beamer was here last week, and had a chance to get to know him when I was coaching at Carolina in that league. There's been some great folks speak here, so I appreciate the opportunity to come back. And I do have a few different things to speak about, talk about today. I won't bore you with the same exact story. I am from Hubbard, Texas, but I was born in Jonesboro, Arkansas. So, I spent most of my life there. Before we get to me, I got to ask, is it true that you picked my opponents the last 2 weeks in a row? No, you keep picking whoever you want to pick. We've only won 11 conference games in a row. We bumped into each other a couple weeks ago eating a burger down at the Burger Barn in Arkadelphia. My son is a sophomore wide receiver there, and I got a chance to meet him and visit down there. So I thought that was good. At least I know you're picking them. We got a chance. I don't know what it is, but coming into this thing, I've been thinking about what to talk to you guys. Most of you guys come back. I know that you're regulars. And I was thinking about I got touchdown coming up, and David's going to be calling me. I don't know. I must have David on the brain. I don't know which. All right, because I had a dream about David last night. We got kids in the room, right? This was the G version, PG-13 version of the dream. However, Basil and I died on the same day. We both died on the same day. We ended up at the pearly gates at the exact same time, and being the nice guy that I am, I let him go first. And so he knocked on the pearly gates. St. Peter came in and saw him. He said, "David Basil." He said, "Come on in." All of a sudden, confetti, we're talking marching band, angels singing, parade down the streets of gold, you name it. I'm standing right there just watching all this. The biggest party you've ever seen. The biggest party you've ever seen for David Basil. He kind of waves at me as he goes, and St. Peter takes him down the street, and they kind of disappear in the mist. It's just beautiful. Tears in my eyes. Number one, I was like, David's here. Number one, I was thinking that they actually let him in, so I wait probably 20, 30 minutes standing there by myself. Everything calms down. They actually come in and sweep up all the confetti off the street and clean it back up. St. Peter finally makes his way back over to me, and he says, "Blake Anderson, good to have you. Come on in." So number one, I got in. I was fired up. We start walking down. No confetti, no marching band, no singing. We just walk. Just walking. He's kind of showing you. Here's the pearly gates. They did have a football stadium right there in the middle, just in case any of you guys were wondering. And we go on for about 15, 20 minutes. And I said, "St. Peter, look, I'm glad to be here. No, I'm happy to be here. I'm just curious, man. I saw David come in, and they kind of got excited, man. There was all kind of stuff." He said, hold up. Look, Coach, we've had a lot of Red Wolves in here all the time. It becomes kind of used to. We're kind of used to that. That's the first Razorback we've ever seen. We're never going to play each other. We might as well have some fun. Speaking of first, first time head coach, I get to do a lot of things for the first time, right? And so there's been a lot of things that have happened since you saw me last year that are first, and just some good things. Obviously, my staff and this group won our first championship, and then so when we were in the middle of all that when we talked to you last year. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I still had a cast on my hand where I'd broken a couple bones. Hey, whatever you got to do to win a game, you do it. I have not had to break any bones this year, but I'm saving a few just in case. we get to that point. But we were able to win the championship. You know, that makes 4 out of 5 years. And so again, I would tell you, in conference play, I would be careful who I choose. You know, and so that was huge. Take what we've been allowed from previous coaches, you know, bring in some guys to fit. Staff did a great job. Staff did a great job because it was really a great combination of what had been left from previous coaches and what we're able to piece together because we were awful the year before. We were really not a very good football team. We were lucky to get a bowl game that year before. And so to rebound and do that a year ago was huge. So we not only won a conference title on the field, but maybe just as proud of winning a conference title off the field. We had the highest GPA in school history. We won the Sun Belt Conference Academic Award. I think that's 11 out of the last 13 years we've been able to do that. 58 players on my football team above a 3.0. So we were, a lot of people did a great job. You know, those are first, you know, to be able to win it on and off the field is huge. My first trip as a head coach to the New Orleans Bowl. It was a great trip. However, we did not get the result we wanted. We want to go back. We want to win it the next time. But, you know, let's again another first. That's 5th straight bowl game. We want to make that 6th this year. We want to find a way. And we got our work cut out for us, but, hey, we're heading in the right direction. Like I said, we're 2-0. I don't know what happened the first 4 weeks. I don't think we played a game. We're 2-0 for the season, so we're moving in the right direction. Really, for me as a head coach, first staff movement. You know, when I took the job a few years ago, I sat down with Chuck and the crew, and they asked me, well, who are you going to hire? I gave them 9 names, and all 9 guys said yes, and all 9 guys showed up and started day one. Not any haggling, not any conversation. They're all yes. They knew they wanted to go. We've been planning this for some time. And so for the first 2 years, I was able to keep everybody in the house. Everybody stayed put. A lot of guys had offers to leave and didn't. Well, last year I had 3 guys leave staff. I lost my offensive coordinator, which is almost like losing my son. He played for me 15 years ago. He'd been with me for 7 or 8 years in a row, both at Lafayette and Southern Miss and Carolina, and came with me. So losing him was huge. He's now at Maryland. Walt Bell, just so y'all know, Freddie Knighton is there volunteering for him off the field and helping Coach Skill and doing a great job. But that was tough to lose part of your family, first for me to go through. Also lost, he took my running backs coach with him, and my offensive line coach left and went to Missouri. So I was kind of poached by the Big Ten and the SEC. Both of those guys are struggling a little bit right now. They're going through it. I hear a lot from them. But you know, that was another phase to go through as a head coach. I got to hire people that are going to come in and fit. And I think I did a couple other firsts as well. I hired 2 guys, and they stayed, I think, a total of about 5 minutes each, and both left immediately. I hired a running backs coach. He barely unpacked his bags in the office, and he took a job the very next day to Purdue. That's not going very well if you've been paying attention. And I hired an O-line coach that didn't even touch the foot on campus, and then took a job at South Florida. So not only did I change staff once, but I changed staff again during that process. And we ended up with Buster Faulkner from Middle Tennessee as our offensive coordinator, and he is finding his way through and figuring out what our guys are. I think I've been really proud of how he's adapted over the last few weeks to find a way to move the ball. It's frustrating early. Life without Freddie Knighton, as we all know, is not easy. All right, and we're finding that out. And but they've gotten better each week. Alan Rudolph, we hired as our O-line coach, and also we brought in a running backs coach from Vanderbilt, Norv McKenzie. And those guys have been great fits. They're great people, number one, but also if you look at their background, they've done a great job where they've been. But that was new. That was new. That was a challenge, and it went all the way through December and January on into the recruiting process. Also, I would like to say I was asked. I'm not sure I was asked. I was placed on the board of trustees for the AFCA, American Football Coaches Association. I say placed because I've never been able to say no to Coach Taft. And when Coach Taft called me as a player, I said, yes, sir. He calls me as a coach, I said, yes, sir. He said, you know, you need to be on the board of trustees. I said, are you asking me or telling me? He said, you need to be on the board of trustees. I said, yes, sir. I happen to sit, we have the Arkansas corner. I happen to sit right next to Brett Bielema and Todd Knight, all 3 of us on that board. And that board is about trying to further the game, protect the players, and find every way we can to make it better. And so I got a chance to spend 3 or 4 days sitting next to Brett and Todd Knight, which has been a great experience. And from that, probably is where the All Arkansas Football Camp came from. We're the first to ever host an All Arkansas Football Camp right here in Little Rock last June, and to get the Razorbacks and the Red Wolves on the same field at the same time. Apparently, it's history made in June. I don't know. We saw 700 kids that day. It was logistically just chaotic. Every university, every Division II, 1AA, and Division I school in the state was there with their staffs. Some entire staff, some just a few. I got a chance to watch those 700 kids. I'd love to see the statistics coming out of that. How many scholarships were offered to young men through the course of that day? And we're going to continue to do that as often as they'll have us. They've been great. He talked about being there at War Memorial. We've had camps and scrimmages there, and it's been wonderful. We'll continue to come back as often as they'll have us. Now, during the process of this, because this was all going through the spring, had a personal first as well. Not the first I would wish upon anybody. I had my house flood for the first time. All right, so I haven't lived in Jonesboro. I didn't grow up there. I was born there, but I grew up in Texas, and in Hubbard, Central Texas, and we get rain. It rained. We get a little water here and there, but never had a house flood. So in the middle of March, we're working, and not exactly sure where I was. I just remember getting a phone call from my oldest son saying, "Dad, it's raining hard, and there's a lot of water in the house." I said, "How much water?" He said, "Well, I can't see my feet. Okay? I can't see my feet." I said, "Well, I'm on my way." Me and all the GAs, Derek Haney, where you at? Derek Haney's really good. Derek Haney's one of our young GAs. He's really good at scooping water, by the way. In case you need he needs some extra hours work. So we get to the house, and we start getting water out everywhere. It's only about 6 to 8 inches of water. We got through it. That's it only. It gets better. All right, it gets better. We got it all out. We got it dried up. We put the fans on, the dehumidifiers. We went through the whole process. Started asking people in Jonesboro. I said, "Look, man, I bought this house, and nobody ever said anything about floods." They said, "Look, that was a 50-year storm. That was a 50-year storm. Man, that will never happen to you guys again." And they were right. They were absolutely right, because in May, when it flooded the next time, it was a foot of water. It wasn't 6 feet. And that was the 100-year storm I was talking about. All right, so my house not only flooded the first time, but it flooded first for the second time, all in about 3 months. And so my wife and I, we are still remodeling and we had it everywhere. So flood insurance, just as a reminder. We've been in 20 houses in 24 years. This is the first one to flood, and I hope it's the last one to flood. Me and the city engineer have got to be on first name basis. They're digging a moat around my house. There's a Razorback fan right next door, and we're going to put the drainage But all that kind of brings us to this year. Obviously, there's a lot of great things that happened. Brings us to this year. And I said, life without Freddie? Absolutely. Life without Freddie. Life without coordinator that I've been with for 10 years. Life without, J.D. McKissick, who's still with the Falcons. Darren Griswold, who went to the Colts. Life without some of those guys, it's been an adjustment. A really tough schedule to start. Toledo, Auburn, obviously huge opponents to start the season out. We still didn't even know who our quarterback was going to be. We didn't find that out for about 4 weeks. Unfortunately, during that 4-week process, we're taking them on the chin left and right. And yes, one of those being from UCA, who Steve and his group did a great job. They came in, we turned it over, they didn't, and they got the win. And so we went through 4 weeks of trying to figure out who we are. The great thing about our fan base is that they quit on us. Now, the guys on the fringes they bailed out, but the true core just got stronger and stronger every week. I cannot tell you how many emails, phone calls, texts of support, letters, you name it, that I got during the course of that 4 weeks. Guys, that's rare. That just doesn't happen everywhere. It just doesn't. Most places I grew up in Texas, you come home, there'll be a for sale sign in your front yard. It's just the truth. So that has been unique. It just has made me love the place even more. And our whole goal is to build Arkansas State in a way. I tell Terry and Chuck this all the time. So this place is good for the next 20 years, not for the next 20 minutes. And we did a great job of piecing together what we had and what we could find and winning a championship last year. This is a completely different challenge. We're starting to see recruiting classes graduate out. We're starting to see what happens when you have 5 head coaches in 5 years. There's 35 players that were signed over a 3-year period that are no longer on our campus, that never made a tackle, never scored a point, never caught a ball. And so there's transition that we're getting through. And luckily, and fortunately for us, our fan base has stayed right there. Our administration never wavered, man, just keep doing what we're doing. And we built it on 3 things. We talk about building a monster. We built it on 3 things: faith, family, and having a great time doing what we're doing. Now, I promise you, when you're 0-4, your faith gets tested. All right, it just does. And I can, in Romans and in Hebrews and James, I'm tired of reading how I'm supposed to rejoice in trial and how I'm supposed to rejoice and how it's a blessing to go through suffering and how it's supposed to be considered pure joy. I read those once, and I know I'm not real good at doing it. However, I know what we're going through is going to make us stronger in the long run. And I think sometimes you just got to come to pure rock bottom. It's the way I've always been personally. I'm just real stubborn. You got to come to pure rock bottom, and before I think you can start climbing your way back up. And that's really what we've done. We did it as a team. We did it as a staff. We've done it individually. We got to pure rock bottom, and we had 1 or 2 ways to go. We could get down there at the bottom. We could start pointing fingers at each other and blame everybody else, or we could pull together. That's exactly what this team's done. Never been more proud of a group than how they responded in the face of what was an awful start. Not what any of us wanted. Obviously, we don't work 80, 90 hours a week to go 0-4, to lose games. But they pulled together. We've had 2.5 great weeks of work. Our best practices, most physical, most detailed, and it's come from the kids. It's come from the kids. They blame themselves. They want to find out ways they can get better. That's exactly what they did, and we beat 2 really good opponents. Georgia Southern was one of the top teams in the country on both sides of the ball, and we beat them in every aspect. We even beat them in turnovers, because we had 5 and they had none. And I've never seen a game won. Westmore told me he's seen 14 times in the last 20 years, I think, that a team has overcome a -5 deficit. And so we made history, and I don't want to make history like that again. But we found a way to do it. We had the immaculate scramble on 4th and 16, and we had a catch that nobody still understands if it's a catch or not. But the hands went up, and they didn't overturn it, so it must have counted. And we found a way to win too. So we got a week off. We're trying to get healthy. We're really beat up. One of the reasons that we ran the ball as much as we did this last week, the reason we ran the clock is because we got the best defense in the league. And we also knew that we have a brand new true freshman starting at left guard, and we had a left tackle playing on one leg. And they got a pretty good pass rush. We felt like we ran the clock, shortened the game, and just hit them in the mouth. Our defense would win it. And that's exactly what we did. Now, we'll open it back up in the future when we get healthy, but it's what we had to do to win a game. And to me, that's balance. When you do whatever it takes to win a game, it's also swallowing your pride. Because as a play caller all those years, I couldn't stand to run the ball more than about 3 plays at a time. I mean, I'd break out in a rash if I didn't get to throw a pass somewhere along the way. So to be able to do that, we ran the ball the first 10 plays of the game and ran about 8 minutes off the clock and put ourselves in a position to win a game. And to me, that's smart coaching on my offensive coordinator and offensive line coach who set apart. So we've got to give them a tremendous amount of credit. And they've not gotten a lot of that this year. They've been people have been really critical of them. And just understand they're doing a great job, both players and staff. So, the next thing for us is just get better. Just get better each day. And that's what guys are trying to do. We're trying to change lives of kids on and off the field. We've had 14 young men come to know Christ in the last 2 years on our football team and one of our staff members. And we found a way to win. To win a championship and have some good grades and have that. One of the things I like the most is every senior that we've had inside of our program since we've been there has graduated with a degree, and everybody is on track to do that again this year. So, hopefully if you hadn't made a game, I hope you make one. We got a home game here in 2 weeks. We're running out of them. We're running out of them because our last 3 games of the year are on the road. We play Monroe at home next Saturday night. We're on the road for a week, on a short week, on a Thursday night game you call. All will be able to say against Georgia State. And then we're back at home again on a Saturday night game against New Mexico State. And then back on the road on a short week, Thursday night game against Troy. So there'll be some opportunities for you to see us. Hopefully you'll take a trip and come up and see us in person. They've done a great job. Facilities are phenomenal. And there's nothing like a Saturday afternoon in the vault. I know some of you guys may have some questions. You took the joke on me, that's why I did it. I got 2 questions.
question. I got two questions. One has to do with recruiting, and it led because you mentioned Freddie Knight, and we've honored Freddie Knight at this touchdown club. But I wanted to make mention. I failed to introduce him a minute ago. Future Hall of Fame Arkansas high school coach. He's won what 5 or 6, Kevin, state championships. 5. He's won 45 consecutive conference games. Hadn't lost a conference game since 2011. Hadn't lost a home game since 2011. Let's welcome Kevin Kelly, who's here today. I want to, no question, nobody really his recruiting coach. What is the philosophy? Because I know you're competing against Arkansas. You're competing against the UCA. What is your philosophy on how many Arkansas kids you try to sign? That's one. The second, if you haven't been to Jonesboro lately to see the facilities that they have, talk about what you've seen and what you think facility-wise you have now at SU.
Start off with recruiting. One of as many Arkansas high school kids as we can get that fit our needs. One of our issues when we got there, however, because of all the transition, we had some significant holes in our upper class areas, and so we had to make a decision, and we had to build a lot of our roster with veteran guys, junior college players, older guys. What you're looking at, if you look at our starting 2 deep right now, on offense, we're fortunate. All those old linemen are seniors, most of which were there already, with the exception of the right tackle, who we brought in as a junior college guy. Defensively, there's a lot of players that we had to go out and get. We found out the first year we could not stop a hard charging band on defense. We just couldn't. And so we had to go fix that. We did. We did that with transfer. A lot of those guys are going to play on Sunday as well. Waylon Roberson, the big interior D tackle, who's definitely a guy that would be up for some D-lineman awards as the year goes on. So we blended it. Ideally, what we love to do is take of our 25 guys, take about 21 high school players, start in the state of Arkansas, and then move out. We really recruit from Tulsa, Oklahoma, all the way to Atlanta. That's about a 6-hour drive from campus. That's reasonable. That's also in everybody's backyard that we play inside of our league, and so we kind of concentrate in that area. But we always start at home. We've got a commitment from an in-state kid now. We've got offers out to several others. So we haven't beat Arkansas kid yet. We had one commit, flip to them. We haven't had one flip back. If somebody's going to be the first, don't know when it's going to be. But we're all battling for the same guys. In terms of, and that's year to year too. It's based off of need. And what we're doing, we're down to just a few spots and still recruiting some in-state kids and a handful of out-of-state kids as well for that. Facility-wise, from the time I sat down with Chuck and the crew a couple of years ago, they made it really clear that we were not done, that we wanted to bring the facility level up to that of the best in the group of 5. Anybody that we're going to recruit against, not trying to compete with the SEC in terms of the spending, it's not possible. That's a different world. We don't live in it. But we want to be competitive in our area, which is group of 5 through those 5 conferences. And we've seen an expanded stadium with luxury boxes that are sold out every week and every year. One of the nicest game day environments you can imagine. A Jumbotron that was brand new, that was changed the game day environment for the fans. A brand new indoor facility, 120 yards of indoor, which we spend probably half our time in because of the crazy weather, the lightning, you name it, the rain, the ice during the winter. All of our other sports use it as well. And we're really close to moving to the next project, which will be to expand the end zone and build a new complex. My president's sitting right here, and he's listening to me. And so that is to create more space, a team environment, weight room that'll be twice the size that we have now. And it will really, truly give us everything we need to be competitive. And if you haven't been there in the last 4 or 5 years, the place has changed dramatically. It's a great environment and great facility, and it allows us to recruit. The hard thing for us to do in recruiting is we have to go into everybody else's backyard. In terms of, we can't fill our roster completely with Arkansas. We've got to go into Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi against teams that we play against and get them to come to us. And we've won, and we got guys in the NFL, and we've graduated players, but at the end of the day, they are 18-year-old, 17-year-old, and facilities is the one area we've got to always stay ahead of the game, and that's what we've been able to do. Yes, sir.
As someone who has written and presented about anthophobia and abnormal fear of flooding, how has the life lessons you've learned as a coach been applicable in an unexpected event like that?
Buy flood insurance, number 1. Buy a place that's on the top of a hill, number 2, if possible. And other than that, man, for me, patience. And don't ever pray for it, but when it comes around, you learn. Because it's, at one point, my wife, seriously, she called me, she said, by the way, this has to be replaced too. And I don't know if you guys, I'm a movie guy. Y'all see the Money Pit where the what is it, the bathtub goes through the ceiling? And he didn't have anything to say, he just starts laughing. I just took that video and I just sent it to her. I didn't say anything, I just took it and said, she said, you've reached that point, you're done. You broke, I don't want to hear anything else. Just tell me what the deal is when it's all over. So, who else? Yes, sir.
I'm interested to hear your perspective on the midweek games like this last Wednesday. Do you like them? Do you not like them?
Well, there's, as most things, there's good and bad of it. Obviously, a national audience, to be the only game on, and to represent the university the way we did, it's huge. It gets into homes that we would not normally get into, and people that would not normally come. I mean, Bowles is watching the game. I mean, like I said, I'm surprised. When you say go A-State, do all?
I do quietly.
You do it quietly. That's a lot, but it's an environment that we would normally get in. So to be the only game on, I get a ton of response, both in recruits, coaches, and throughout college football. You know, coaches that are watching that night, typically they're probably wrapping up what they're doing and they're watching that game. But it hurts, man, to not be that Saturday afternoon in front of your home crowd. There's a give and take. We don't have a choice anyway. I mean, TV owns the rights to most of that. The conference and ESPN tell us when to play. We get very little. And hopefully we're a good enough product that they want us on. It means we're winning, we're competitive. And so I think it's just something we got to deal with. But I think there's probably more positive than the negative, to be honest with you, in terms of exposure for the state, for the brand, and for what we're trying to do with recruiting. Anybody else? That's it. We're done. Thank y'all so much.